Before we get started, I am going on tour for the first time ever this fall, November 20th, 21st, 22nd, and 23rd in 4 special cities. Join me for laughs, games, full house trivia, real conversations around women's wellness, and I'll be taking audience questions. Tickets and info at candace.com/tour. Our first question today is from Laura, and she wants to know, colostrum, peptides, collagen, greens, electrolytes. What is worth the hype? I'm overwhelmed. I don't know about you, but I love to colorfully mark up my Bible, and Mr. Pen is the company dedicated to creating pens and highlighters specifically to be used in your Bible. How cute is this? The ink doesn't bleed through the page, and there are so many color palettes to choose from, paired with their other products like transparent sticky tape, sticky notes and tabs and washi tape, and you can create the perfect combinations to make studying scripture an even more meaningful experience. With over 1 million 5-star reviews on Amazon, they are the most popular Bible highlighters and pens on the market. That's why I use them. Whether you're looking to deepen your faith through study and reflection or simply need a reliable pen for taking notes during a sermon, Mr. Pen has you covered. To get 10% off your first Mr. Pen order, go to candacepens.com. Join me in diving into the Word in 2025. Go to candacepens.com to get 10% off your Mr. Pen order. Hi, friends. As the Christmas season gets closer, I'm reminded that there are millions of kids around the world who struggle to have their basic needs met. Operation Christmas Child is the world's largest Christmas project of its kind. The mission is simple but powerful: to demonstrate God's love in a tangible way to children in need around the world and to share the good news of Jesus. Since 1993, more than 232 million shoeboxes have been given to children in over 170 countries, each one packed with school supplies, toys, and personal care items. And every box is an opportunity to share God's love. This year, the goal is to reach 12 million more children, and you can be a part of it. During National Collection Week, November 17th through the 24th, drop off your shoeboxes at one of 5,000 locations nationwide, or build one online. Visit SamaritansPurse.org/OCC to get started. That's SamaritansPurse.org/OCC. No matter who you are, life can feel like a roller coaster, but it's so much better when we go through it together. Welcome to the Candace Bure podcast. This final episode of season 11, Body and Soul, I am joined by one more expert guest, functional health coach Vince Pitstick. Vince has an incredible personal story, and he's here to share his expertise about nutrition and supplements. I'm so glad that you're here. I'll tell everyone, we met online back in October. We were not online dating, guys. Okay. Wasn't that kind of online. We met through Cameron Matheson. And Cameron and I have done a couple Christmas movies together. And we have a new one coming out this year. So
excited about that.
Gotta watch it. It's the sequel. It's called Another Sweet Christmas. But anyway, Cameron is so into health and fitness and all the things. And I've known Cameron a very long time, but we finally worked together last year, and I just had all the questions for him. Cameron also beat cancer.
Yes.
I mean, you could tell us a lot about his story, so many things, but I know he's also this wealth of knowledge when it comes to health and fitness. So I started talking to him, and he was like, I kind of use this company and this coach, and I work with this guy, and he kind of knows everything, and his name is Vince, and it's Vital Coaching and all of this stuff. So by the end of the movie, I was like, give me all the information. I'm in. I'm just in. I want to figure out all the things because I have a goal to really move into my 50s into this next decade of my life, which I turn 50 next year. And I just want to go in being great. So I called you, we made an appointment, we met on Zoom, and now we've been working together and you've been coaching me through this process.
And to see you do it through your schedule, the challenges, the setbacks, the movies, to watch you continue to push forward, it's just been super impressive to watch. Yeah. So behind the scenes, everybody should know how hard she works personally and professionally. And you're the real deal. And so I'm sure people know that already, but with Cameron, like it's an example. So people find themselves in this weird place where I don't know, like I hear all this stuff. I need it organized for me. I need to know about hormones, peptide supplements, all these things, right? Yeah. Fitness, nutrition. This new age of modern functional health coach fills the gap and learns about everything. So that's what I was a functional medicine consultant for the top doctors in the country. I learned about everything. And now I organize it, which is what we've been able to do, is organize it all for you so it makes sense and it really works in your life.
So tell me how you started. Take me way back to when you were a kid. What happened that you wanted to be in this field?
Yeah, I think the listeners they'll have fun with this story because like God showed up in a major and powerful way. So at 6 years old, so I grew up on a farm. And I grew up at a time, because I'm 41 now, right? I grew up at a time where you could leave the house and parents might not see you for hours. I'm out there's no one lives near us, Grew up in the cornfields, and I actually became sick to some of the chemicals that were being used. And it started leading to a rash of infections. So I got a rash of strep infections that were very severe that led to, today we know the condition is something called PANDAS. At the time, there was none of this understanding. So I start getting delusions. I start getting obsessive compulsive, intrusive thoughts. It feels like I'm possessed. Okay?
Whoa.
Right. This is at 7.
Okay.
Now you mix that with there's trauma in the home. My parents they're not working out. My father's trying to figure out how to be a great father and run this huge farm and all these things, which they're amazing people today. I don't want to. Yeah. But there was challenge at the time. So this shows up and they think it's behavioral, which is what happens for a lot of people when they start getting ill and they start getting anxiousness or they get intrusive thoughts. We start to think, just stop doing that. Well, anyways, it leads to many, many years of psychological and then physical illness. It starts manifesting into gut issues and all this other stuff. And so from 7 years old to 22 years, in between there, a bulk of it, the 15 years, I lived like kind of boy in the bubble.
No way.
Yeah. I mean, I would go to school, but it was controlled. I'd have to come home and I wouldn't really leave. And I watched the rest of the world kind of like live. And we know today that really what happened was certain infections attacked my nervous system and messed with my brain chemistry, that I got OCD. But the medical system ended up being a dropout of the medical system. They just kept throwing diagnoses at me and tried to throw drugs at me. And even from an early age, I was like, I'm not going to take medications. For me, it was that. And we learned later that those early psych drugs were really bad for people. So this starts my journey of like finding outside holistic alternative approaches. And as I started to get older, I started getting into nutrition, into fitness. I started meeting different holistic practitioners and going to therapy. And it was a combination. And then of course, God shows up in a major way in my life at this time. And it was a combination of all of these things that one day I woke up and I was free. Now I still have tendencies and things like that. But it was a combination of, that's where supplements comes in, because they were a huge factor in me getting well. Right. Okay. And from that time, I began to realize, and maybe everyone can kind of identify with this. You're dealing with like, I'm getting older, I'm tired, but I've got this symptom. The doctors will confuse you. They'll give you labels, and they don't mean to, but they'll give you a diagnosis. That diagnosis may not be the root, but it feels like the root. It's like, oh, I've got joint pain. I've got acid reflux. I have X. So you think in your mind, I've got all these different things, but oftentimes what it is they all have a common root. And but the issue is you have to go to 17 doctors for each diagnosis. Yeah. So now how do you coordinate and organize all that? The system isn't set up that way. So no one's talking to anybody. Your GI doc's not talking to your thyroid doc's not talking to your nutritionist, is not talking to your therapist. And because we live in that world, majority of Americans today are falling through the cracks at all-time rates. That's why chronic disease is at all-time highs, even though healthcare spending and healthcare growth as a GDP is at all-time highs. So there's a disconnect between growth of the medical system and the growth of disease. And so I learned from a very early age that like, we have to connect these things together.
Okay.
And what I realized is the number one problem in America is too much specialization. If you are a children's heart surgeon or a rocket scientist, great. But if you want to try to help people to healing, you need to know a little bit about everything to bring it together for people.
Yeah, that makes
Wouldn't
sense.
you agree? Like, think about your
Absolutely.
own experience. Talk a little bit about that. Like, how do you feel like it kind of all coming together, organizing it all for you?
Well, yeah. I mean, even in my fitness journey over the years, and I've been working out, I've been working out since I was 16, but probably very consistently in my 30s and 40s. But you can work out all day long, but if you don't have the right nutrition that's going with that, well, you're not going to build your muscle or you're not going to lose the weight. And then, we're actually going to be talking about supplements.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, that's the whole point of this conversation today. But you and Dr. Tabitha, who we had on the last couple of weeks, like there's a lot of overlap because you both specialize in functional medicine.
Right.
So I'm very much looking forward to hearing all the things that you have to say. But yes, it all makes sense. If you, are doing one without having any understanding of all of the other aspects of it, then you're kind of doing it in vain in a sense. It's not going to all be cohesive and work together.
That's why most people we're in America, we spend more money on health than any country in the world. But yet for first world countries, we have one of the worst average health, and morbidity expectancies over time. So it's interesting. So that's part of where supplements come in, right?
Okay.
Because they changed my life. And I want to try to get people and moving in that direction. And that's what we see if we look at the landscape of where different industries are going. People are looking for way less solutions in pharmacological solutions and more in supplement solutions.
Right.
And so that's what we want to talk more about. But that's where New Ethics comes in, and I developed the company. Yeah.
So I'm excited to talk about supplements because I am a person that took 0 supplements. I mean, really very, very few. I might have taken like a multi-purpose vitamin or like a juice type vitamin to get a vegetable and a fruit or something over the course of my life, but I had never been a supplement person.
Sure.
Can you tell me, just to lay the foundation, what is the difference between a pharmaceutical, a supplement, and an herb?
Yeah. So pharmaceuticals typically, now sometimes most pharmaceuticals typically mimic something in the natural world, and then they put it into they take that extract, they make a chemical synthetic version of it, and then they multiply it into a powerful dose. Like that's what a statin drug is. It's really coming from the world of supplementation.
Statin is for cholesterol?
Cholesterol, for example. Very good. Yes.
Yeah.
Slow me up sometimes, right? So for example, that comes from red yeast rice. And there's like 16 little monocolons or chemicals in red yeast rice that help your body, produce less cholesterol. So most things mimic something in the natural world. They just change it into something that they can patent. Yeah. And it's come a long ways. But in supplements, you're using more natural technologies. Obviously, it's come a really long way. But something that people really should know about supplements is there's really 2 departments. There's 2 segments of the market. Okay. One is OTC, which is over the counter, and the other is more medical grade, which the distinction would be, what market are you selling to? One market designs products for doctors to use for people at a higher level. And then the other is more for like department store, something you might find on the shelves at CVS or, something like that.
Walgreens, right. Got it.
Not that both can't have value. I don't want to like poo-poo if someone's using something from a CVS, but what I would say to them is that there's a higher standard of testing, quality, and purity that comes in the medical grade, which we can talk a little bit about. And so the supplement industry, even though there's the FDA, which is a watchdog, it does not really in-depth regulate supplements.
Okay.
I don't think we would want that because if you look at Europe, they control all the supplements and then people can't get access to stuff. So I don't think we'd really want that. But at the same time, that means you need an educated buyer, right? To know a little bit about the field because people are cutting corners left and right to keep the cost as low as possible.
Right. So how do I know if I need to start on magnesium? Because we need to talk about magnesium.
Absolutely. Yes, sure.
How do I know where to get it? Do I get it at my drugstore? Right. Do I go to a fancy Please, can I get it on Amazon?
Yes, exactly. So when I studied out in California and in Gig Harbor, Washington, where they were doing research on supplements of the future, and then doctors would train on these things, we learned about what the gold standard would look like if you were testing. Like, so you have raw materials plants that you can get extracts from, and then you have your main manufacturing plants where all the raw materials will come in and they'll make it. At any stage of that, there could be a snafu in the processing of it, and where I got it from may not have been a good source. So the problem is that there's no way on a label to know the difference oftentimes. So you have to know some of the simple things to be aware of. Okay. And I think that will help people. Focus on the brand and not the ingredient at first. So you just said magnesium. So it's like, all right, I'm just going to go find magnesium. Well, if you just try to go find magnesium, what are you usually going to compare it to decide? Oftentimes price. Like, where do I get the best price for magnesium? Oftentimes you're going to find that in the OTC over the counter market, and the quality and the manufacturing of that usually means that's way less potent. It may not have, I mean, Consumer Reports shows that most supplements don't have what they say in them anyways. Okay. Doesn't mean it's still good for you, but it also can imply that it won't give you the outcome that you intended. Like when I look at a bottle of vitamin D, I expect my vitamin D levels to raise if I take it. Right. But the difference between whether something works or not can be the quality and how it's manufactured. Okay. And that can be hard to distinguish between one bottle or the next. Yeah. So it's really good to ask your doctor or a dietitian or someone that you trust, what brands do you use? And those will usually be what they call medical grade brands, or brands that have third-party assaying and testing. They have their own internal QC, which is called quality control. Most companies that are legit, if you go to their website, so whatever you got heard as brands, go look that brand up. Look on their website. Does it say they have internal quality control? Because most supplement companies, they're OTC, don't. They're just marketing. They're spending all their money on marketing and they're not spending it on quality. But brands that are for outcomes that go to practitioners have to get outcomes. So they're more likely to do that. Okay. But medical grade doesn't mean that you have to get it from a doctor. You can still get medical grade from their website or other specific websites that sell medical grade. Recently, there's been a change in the last 2 years where most medical grade supplements are now direct to consumer. Okay. So you can get some of them even on Amazon. Okay. Okay. But you're going to want to find out which ones those are, because it can be hard to tell the difference. So talk to a trusted advisor. Like, I can tell you some brands right now, but I don't know if I like, because as a practitioner, I use like Metagenics, I use Biotics, I use Pure, I use New Ethics. That's why I developed it, because I'm such a control freak. I had to know where the raw ingredient was coming from. Yeah. Especially in herbs and the potencies and all. I needed to know, so that I knew I was giving something to my family, my friends, and me that is the best stuff. Like, I care about that. Yeah. Right. And because I need to get outcomes, not just sell a product. My clients come to me for outcomes. So I got to get these outcomes. So these are the different brands, but there are others out there. I'm leaving out some other good ones. Okay. So then check if they have their own internal QC. It matters. And then outside of that, now you have brand loyalty. So then it's like, oh, I read about electrolytes. Does the brand that I trust have electrolytes? Go look and get that, because it's likely that those are exactly what they say they are, and they're going to give you an intended outcome. Okay. That's the better way to approach most things. Is to find a brand that you trust and know is going to be good and use the products from them. Yes, exactly. Now, the last thing though is the things to look out for. Let's give 3 red flags, right? One is making wild claims on the label. Okay. Like fat burner plus 10 pounds out, something like that. It's a red flag. I probably bought it when I was 18. Yes, right. Number 2 is proprietary blends. So what a proprietary blend is that companies can mix things together in different forms, and they can cheapen it by putting very little. It's called label dressing. So let's say you had a really expensive ingredient, like deer antlers, great for testosterone, but it's very expensive, like even elk antler. I can barely put anything in there at all and put it on the label in a proprietary blend, and you're not really getting what you wanted, right? Right. So proprietary blends is absolutely another one. Okay. And it has to say that on the, it will say it on the ingredient. It says it on the label. And if I see those 2 words, I'm like, try to lean against it. That doesn't mean that some people are protecting that other people, you don't want them to copy your formulas. Like New Ethics, for example, has no proprietary blends. Okay. And then the last thing is transparency. So do they put somewhere that they are GMP, which is good manufacturing practices. Okay. So the irony about supplements, people want to dog supplements, but the standards for GMP and manufacturing of supplements is actually a higher standard than USP, which makes your ibuprofen, Tylenol, and everything else.
Yeah, so, how are the standards on that?
Very poor. That's why like Excedrin got away for years underdosing and overdosing people, and it just got missed under USP standards. It has to get caught and then reported. It's not like no one's watching very closely.
Yeah.
And it happens all the time. I mean, we see recalls, we see all kinds of things. Mm-hmm. So when people are saying, if they go the medical grade route, and Amazon has pretty good testing now too.
Okay.
But Amazon doesn't temperature control as much, which I worry about how long a supplement's going to last. Okay. That's why I prefer to buy direct from the company, because they're going to control the temperature and storage a little bit better. But Amazon's getting better about it. But you know, most of the mainstream companies have testing that's way higher, and their own internal QC is way higher. I don't want to get too much in the weeds, but my internal QC's standard is so high, it's 3x what a USP standard is for your Tylenol and stuff. So if you can trust your major brands that they are testing more than going off the shelf and buying Tylenol. Okay. If that makes sense. We'll leave it at that. That's pretty good, right?
Let's talk about the supplements.
Sure.
I mean, we can talk about it in terms of me, but this audience that's listening, we're perimenopause, we're menopausal, kind of 40s, 50s. We have a lot of young people that listen too, but as we just left with Dr. Tabitha leading off on
By
menopause.
The way, fantastic. She's awesome. It's very rare that I identify on so many levels. I'm very picky. She's got a lot of things figured out. She's great.
Yeah. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that from you. Yeah, because I really, really enjoy her, and she feels so knowledgeable as well. So, so talking to a woman around my age, 40s, 50s, what are some of the go-to, like these are musts that we should really be taking?
Let's start with adaptogens. So at nervous system,
Tell me what an adaptogen is.
We just talked, Dr. Tabitha talked so much about the nervous system.
And
talked about like stress modification. And how it's hard for us to put down a stressful situation and walk away from it and be at peace and in our parasympathetic. So adaptogens help our body adapt to stress and regulate and jump between parasympathetic and sympathetic so that we can do it easier. So things like ashwagandha, bacopa, dong quai. I mean, there's a lot of these like Asian ginseng. That's why one of the ones we had you taken was Cortiis. We have you rely on that Cortiis, because when you're going from I need to be peaceful with my family to I need to be on set and I got to be on.
I have Cortiis in my backpack at all times, and it travels with me everywhere.
Right. So that is packed with a different couple blends of adaptogens that help your body go from those situations and adjust quickly. Right. And then one of the keys is phosphatidylserine that's in there. So women usually, when they get stressed and cortisol and adrenaline start going, they'll get puffy. They'll get swollen. So that's why adaptogens paired with phosphatidylserine pulls water off of you.
What is phosphatidylserine?
Phosphatidylserine, basically just think of it as an antioxidant and an agent that helps your body lower aldosterone levels so that your kidneys will eliminate more water. So it's one of the best things. But it's not like harsh, like maybe a diuretic. It helps even you out. So then you're lean and serene instead of stressed and bloated. And that affects every person in that age group, because as we get a little older, our regulation of cortisol, adrenaline, and stress hormone and what's called aldosterone starts to get a little bit off. And so women in perimenopause, one of the first things they'll notice is an unsettled nervous system and more like a waterbed. I can touch myself and I see my impressions. I can't get the water off me. I can sleep and it just doesn't go away now. If I eat less food, it doesn't go away. It's like this water, balloon that's kind of on me. And so starting there is one of the main areas that really can help with that.
So that supplement can help. I still want to go back to diet. Can you talk about some of the...
Again, one of the things that's great about supplementation, once enhanced with diet, you get a magnitude effect, right? So they are catalysts of each other. So once in different stages of a woman's life, because this is an area we spend so much time in, nutritional needs should change. Particularly when we walk into the perimenopause, menopausal stage. This is where some of the classic 10 servings of fruits and vegetables, eating in a variety, Mediterranean dieting becomes so important because as estrogen begins to decline, you need to get more healthy, natural phytoestrogens from plants and soy, healthy amounts of soy and diversity, phytoestrogens that come from and phytonutrients that come from all the colors, that come from the array. We need to eat more variety, and that can be hard as creatures of habit. Right. We end up eating the same thing every single day, and then it changes our bacteria in our gut. Like it doesn't matter whether I eat spinach or a cheeseburger. If I eat the same thing every day, I'm going to have the same amount of gut issues. It doesn't matter how healthy the food is. Okay. Because I haven't created seasonal variety. Okay. So that's why when a woman starts to approach menopause, it's very important that they start to eat in diversity, and then they can have periods of fasting and all the stuff that you just talked about with Dr. Tabitha.
I guess my question is, if whatever I'm eating and I just add a supplement, is it going to completely change my body if I'm still eating cheeseburgers and fries and I go, oh, but I'm going to start taking the supplement? Will that change it enough, or does it have to be in complement to a refined diet? Yeah.
So I would say this, it's like, if you're going to eat bad, you should definitely take supplements because you're going to get nutrient deficiencies, right? We don't want to say, oh, I'm not eating good, so then I don't need to take supplements too. I think that's
fair statement.
Right?
Fair statement.
I think that, but both processed food living and clean eating have their flaws. Okay. You can end up with deficiencies in both, which is something we'll talk about, what are common deficiencies that come up. But ultimately, right, if you take healthy fats, if you want to get you can do your fish oils or something called SPMs. You want to take some greens, you certainly can do that. We'll talk about the legitimacy of some of these things. You can take probiotics. All those things can really enhance a diet, particularly if you're someone who eats the same all the time. Okay. Like if you're very habitual, that's problematic. So you're someone who should take more supplements. Okay. Without seasonal variation. So my big thing is diet variation. Every diet works until you work it too long. Metabolic flexibility. Flexibility. Yes. I should have a season of eating more carbs and fats, and then seasons where I eat more protein. Okay. Right. So you could decide in the winter months or summer months, eat your carbs, eat more food. Then as you start to go into winter months, maybe more protein, fat, less calories. That's a simple way of creating seasonal variation that keeps you very metabolically flexible, meaning I can move from a sugar burning to a fat burning state very easily. We could always talk more about that, but this is where supplements can help. They can keep you insulin sensitive. They can make sure that you keep inflammation down. Those things are very true. But even though I have a supplement company, I'm going to tell everybody right now, it's just a really good idea to take a break from supplements for 2 months out of the year. Okay. Right? Because it resets your sensitivity to them. Got it. Or change them up. Okay. Like your favorite supplement, if you take it too long, you need to switch it and come back to it later. Take 3 months off or something. Okay, that makes sense. Totally makes sense. That's more useful, right? So there's like a hormetic window. Like you change your workouts up every 10 to 12 weeks. Yeah. Yeah. For good reason, because your body gets used to it, right? Yes. Right? Same thing with supplements. Okay. Right? So like you can get another types of other herbs or stuff like that, then you can switch it up. Okay. So people can feel not guilty if they were off for a month. Like it's like, that's good. Now go back on. Okay. So we talked about like Cortiis or like ashwagandha, those kinds of supplements. What's another one that's really beneficial for women my age? Yeah. So I think... Can I just say, I really want to talk about magnesium. Yes. Okay. So if we had to give like a top 5, I think this comes up. I think we had to give like a top 5. Magnesium is absolutely one of them because it's involved in almost every cellular function inside of our body. And there's different types of magnesium. There's different types of magnesium. There's citrate and there's one other one, right? So just think of it. Let's get it real simple. Citrate's for pooping. Okay. Glycinate or bisglycinate is really good for absorption and total body function. Okay. Right. Magnesium like malate, or there's a few others, might be good for sleep. Right. Okay. And there's a few other versions that we could talk about. Yeah. But I think that's pretty good. You can do magnesium chelate. It's good for all cellular functions. Okay. But citrate is best for going to the bathroom. That's why we make one that has both citrate and glycinate in it, because it's hey, I want some to go keep my motility high, and then some for all the other cellular functions and mood and sleep.
But would you say this would be a supplement that it should be pretty standard for women to take magnesium?
Yes.
Maybe men too, but I'm just saying
magnesium is fantastic. Again, it's involved with so many different cellular functions in our body. It's also serves as an electrolyte as well, as a mineral. And so what happens is we tend to get depleted because of our lifestyle. So it's one of the simple ones. That, along with, I think, potassium, sodium. Most people feel bad because of accidental dehydration. So people start drinking less water because they get stressed and busy. And then they'll have some caffeine, which is a diuretic.
Yep.
Then they'll go. And then they start, over a few days, they start getting dry and dehydrated. So they start becoming like the Tin Man. And then they wonder, like, why do I wake up today and I'm so tired and I'm stiff, and I'm like, they don't realize, like, you've accidentally dehydrated yourself over 2 weeks. And what you need to do is like a reset, which is why we talk about like the cortisol reset, and we have you drink water and take a bunch of adaptogens, and then you feel great in like 36 hours.
Yeah.
Which we can also give that to your viewers if you want the cortisol reset. Is a little add-on if you want.
Oh, that would be great.
But it's a little cool two-day guide to make anybody feel much better. That's why, like, people are afraid of sodium. They shouldn't be in potassium and electrolytes.
If I could only have one product on a desert island, it's gonna be a good lip balm. But finding a lipstick that feels just as moisturizing, now that's rare. Adele's lipstick is so creamy, it hydrates like a balm, adds a pop of color, and it's safe to ingest. I love that. Now, I have tried all of their shades, and my go-to for every day is Southern Belle. It's closest to my natural lip color. It's a very soft, pretty rose. But if I want a little more pigment, Nude is a cool toned rose that adds just the right amount of color. That's what I'm wearing right now. And if I want something a little bit more dramatic, I like Times Square. It's a deeper mauve with just a touch of red, and it is perfect for a night out. Now, as a faith-based company, Adele is guided by 1 Peter 3, verses 3 and 4. Beauty comes from the heart. And that really shines through in all the ways they do business. With every order, their hope is that you not only love their products, but trust the heart behind them. Follow at Adele Natural Cosmetics for tutorials, behind the scenes, and uplifting content. And don't forget to use my code Candace for 25% off your first order. Something I love to do is point people to the scriptures and encourage them to read the Bible. People often ask me about my personalized Bibles, which are out of print for now, but here's one I really recommend, the NIV Application Bible, new from Zondervan. This Bible is so helpful because it doesn't just explain what the text says. It shows you how it applies to your life today. It features thousands of study notes from the best-selling NIV Application Commentary series. You'll also find original meaning notes that unpack the context of each passage and application notes that help you live out God's word in your daily experiences. There are also questions for growth, introductions for every book, character profiles, and even articles about who God is, all in a beautiful, full-color design. If you want to dig deeper into scripture, check it out at nivapplicationbible.com. That's nivapplicationbible.com. There's a lot going on in the world right now, and sometimes it feels overwhelming. But the Bible reminds us there's a steady foundation beneath it all, a source of hope that can't be shaken. The promises of Scripture were first made to the people of Israel. Right now, there are thousands of people who share these foundations of our faith who need our help. Many in Israel and Eastern Europe face everyday challenges like getting food, medicine, and having their basic needs met. That's why I'm sharing with you about the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. They've been providing real help and hope for over 40 years. If you want to learn more or get involved, visit ifcj.org. That's ifcj.org. So I've never added salt to my food ever in my life. Yeah. I have been anti-salt my whole life. I never even liked the taste of it. I never even understood how it enhanced food. Sure. It just tasted, when I would taste salt, I felt like I was licking a salt lick. Yeah. It just was gross to me. But I don't know, that started to change.
Yes.
And I started taking electrolytes, which has so much sodium in them, so much salt in them, and salt-based ones. And something started changing in my body that was really good. And it was giving me energy. But I didn't feel puffy or bloated from it. But then it also ended up changing even within my food. So to add some little dash of salt on things. And now I love it. Now I'm like, oh, I get this salt thing that people have been talking about for hundreds of years.
That's right. Yeah.
But I just never wanted to feel puffy. And before, whenever I even had the tiniest amount of salt, I felt like I would blow up like a balloon.
And that's because people get accidentally dehydrated and they're trying to be low sodium.
Yeah.
Because some diet taught them to do that, or they've learned that it was bad. And then when they finally have a night out and they have some sodium, your weight's going to skyrocket because that sodium's going to hold. And you're going to go, oh, sodium makes me gain weight. No, it doesn't. If you keep sodium in and you keep water up, blood pressure stays down. That's why there's a lot of the salt studies were done in weird constraints in the way that they were studied.
Mm-hmm.
If you're very inflamed and you're eating a bunch of processed foods and you're not drinking water, and you take in a bunch of sodium, that can raise your blood pressure.
Yeah.
But if you're staying active, you actually need more sodium, and it actually can help balance blood pressure with with potassium. So you have them both in there. But when you start to get most weight off of you, or you're at a good weight and you're really active, when you're really active, most people can't just get hydrated again. You can't just drink water when you're constantly, if you're very active, and you're trying to get healthy or whatever, and you're eating clean and your sodium's getting really low, and then you get dehydrated. What people don't realize is you need potassium to get that, to help that sodium stay inside the cell. It's called the salinity of our cells. Okay. So once people get dehydrated, they think, oh, I'm going to drink water and I'm hydrated. No, you're peeing most of that out.
So what are you supposed to
You have to load. That's why you electrolyte load. So that's why you have to have, that's why like New Lights, for example, has the 4-to-1 ratio. When you get dehydrated or you're very active, you need a 4-to-1 ratio sodium to potassium. And you want to try to get 2,000-3,000 in at that time.
Yeah.
At that time. After you're rehydrated, you could maybe just do 1,000 milligrams additional if you want to both, potassium, sodium total mix. Maybe you get 500 to 1,200, sodium, and then 200 to 600 potassium. They don't have to know that too much. They can just take an electrolyte supplement that has sodium in it. People
but hold on. Let's talk about that for a second, because I was working and I ran out of electrolytes, which I drink them throughout the day while I'm on set. Because I have 15 to 16 hour days. It's a lot. Energy. I keep going. So that is my energy, because I don't really drink caffeine. Yeah. Once in a while I have a matcha. I like it, but I don't drink coffee, and I drink herbal tea. Sure. So the electrolytes are so helpful for me. I was on set working. I sent my assistant out and I said, hey, if you can grab this brand, this is the preferred brand. Sure. Well, she went to 3 stores. Yeah. They didn't have that brand, but even some of the other brands that I feel comfortable with, they weren't available at the stores. Sure. And so I said, well, start taking a photo of the label in the back. Yep. And every single label she sent me, the predominant ingredient was sugar. Yeah. And so there's a difference of those electrolytes and electrolyte powders. Yes. Also that are not even that salt to potassium ratio at all. Like those are the ingredients that are in there. That's what you're supposed to be having. Yeah. But there's like 10 ingredients, 15 ingredients, and then it's all sugar. And some of them are barely even salt-based. Yes. And so some electrolytes that says electrolytes really aren't. I mean, maybe you can talk about it getting energy from a different source, but I'm like, that's not healthy for me. Yes. An electrolyte, they're not all created equally. Here we go. So I don't want to make people afraid of supplements because they're very safe, but most companies, they'll hide it. So they'll even say sugar-free on the label. Like a lot of the big electrolyte brands just got caught doing this. But when you go to the flavor company, so the flavor company will proprietarily protect. So this is how I try to shield people from these conversations, right? Because you don't want to, but this one you should know. Okay. Maltodextrin. Yeah. While can be from potato sources and stuff, it can be from other unhealthy sources, but maltodextrin is a sugar. Okay.
they can hide it in the flavor. So in the natural flavors or in the artificial flavors, they can hide it and they can pack lots of it in there and you'll never see it on the label and the FDA will never catch it. In fact, a lot of the big electrolyte companies that's like, how is this so good? Well, that's how it's so good. They were hiding sugar in it the entire time.
Yeah.
And so companies can get away with this. This is why you want brand loyalty to someone. You go, I know they're not going to do this to me because I'm not going to spend my whole life obsessing about looking at. You should learn labels and we could teach a clinic on that, of course.
Yeah.
But I think the important thing to recognize is that like you got to start to learn about a brand, trust that brand. That stuff happens a lot of times with electrolytes. They're just going to give you a bunch of sugar to try to make you feel energy.
Yeah.
So you have to look at what you're looking at on the label. But most people out there now, if you've got high blood pressure, you can talk to your doctor. But if you're starting to walk a lot and you're drinking a lot of water, sodium's actually starting to introduce some in your food. It's actually going to make you feel way better. People with high blood pressure that are on no sodium diets are making themselves more swollen because sodium potassium balance.
That so makes sense. And I never had this.
Because now you're not, look how it brings you in.
I've had so much more salt in my life in the last 2 years than I ever have. But it's crazy. And I didn't even know that.
Isn't that wild? So yeah, some of the things we learned when we were younger. And it's tired us out. People don't realize.
Yeah. Let's talk about brain fog.
Yes.
Because I do feel like I have brain fog at times, and that's a big symptom. I just kind of lose my thoughts midway through. What was I just saying? What was I doing? What did I walk in here for?
Yeah.
So what are some supplements that can help with brain fog?
There are a lot of good things out there. I think what we'll start with is start to talk about hormones. Okay. This is kind of important. So what are supplements that are generally like safe that anybody could add? DHEA, right? And 10 or 15 is safe. Now, some people need more, which is why I'd love for women.
Can you tell everyone what DHEA is or what it's?
Yeah, DHEA is a neurological precursor to your sex hormones, particularly your androgen hormones like testosterone and androsterone. But it helps with energy for sure. I mean, it's one that really drives me. And if you're someone who drinks coffee, it depletes DHEA.
Okay.
So if you're a coffee drinker, you pretty much can guess that DHEA is going to be great for you. Okay. What's safe is like 10 to 15 milligrams. You can front load it. If anyone wants a cheat sheet, you could get away with 7 to 14 days of 25 milligrams or 50 milligrams and then bring it back to 10 because that would help you give you a little energy sooner.
Okay.
Some pregnenolone for some can be good, but that's something that you should probably just, I would rather you get I love a Dutch urine test or even just a basic hormone test.
We got to talk about the Dutch test.
I know, or just do it like to know your cortisol levels and your hormones would be great. Yeah. Now, if you don't know them, this is where I was going to tell you, women at home, don't freak out. There are some full formulas that are generally safe that help your body produce hormone and detox hormone that are generally safe for everybody.
Okay.
And they're put together like Metagenics has a good one called Estrofactors. We have one that we have like EstroCort or Hormone Plus Complete. Okay. And what it does is it just supports nutritionally and all the phytonutrients and minerals and, vitamins that are good for helping your body sustain. There's a difference between your hormone level and your sensitivity. So a hormone's a message. And communication requires what? We know there's two people, a listener, right? And the communicator. Hormones are no different. I need a sensitivity. Okay. That's why when you get older, you don't have to worry as much about the level of the hormone replacement is great. By taking things like adaptogens, like enough zinc, selenium, we'll talk more about, there's plenty of other things that you can take, boron, the list goes on and on that we could talk about. Asian yam, there's different things you can take that help your body's sensitivity. Phytoestrogens are the best. That's why Mediterranean diet tends to be. It helps increase your sensitivity to estrogen. So even if you have lower amounts as you get older, you're still getting a lot of the physiologic processes of having estrogen. Okay. So there are formulas that are already out there that generally are overall formulas that help. That also come with, the genetic factors to helping you produce hormone and detox hormone.
Okay.
So hopefully that helps people. They're prepackaged all in one. That's why.
Okay. So that can help brain fog.
Yeah, that helps because the production of hormone and the detoxification of hormone is one of the key things. There's also, if you just want to talk about dopamine, that's where some fun stuff comes in. Lion's mane. It's one of the best things that you can take for.
And I take lion's mane.
Yep. That's for brain fog.
Yep.
And then
I didn't take it today, guys.
And then alpha GPC is a good one. And just to give people, I think an Asian ginseng is really good. It's another option. Those are really good for brain fog as well.
Okay.
Like if I were to, we're getting into more green pharmacy where you're like, name me the ingredient for the thing. And that's kind of what we would do. Obviously, brain fog, the best thing to do is like find God, get some sleep, eat a balanced diet, right? But we're talking about supplement solutions, right?
Okay. Got it. Thanks. I appreciate that
like,
clarification.
Multiple ways to the same
Yes,
thing.
for sure. Yeah. Can you explain the difference between a peptide and a hormone?
Yeah.
Or just talk about peptides? That's a word I'm hearing a lot about and see on social media.
Yes.
What are peptides?
So one easy way in the supplement world, people may be familiar with like collagen protein versus collagen peptides.
Yes.
Those are not the same thing.
Okay.
So I think what's important is that your body, you can take amino acids, right? Or branch chain amino acids, right? Which help with muscle. And then there's essential amino acids. So you got like, glutamine, right? People may be aware of that. Amino acids then pair together to make longer chains that make peptides.
Okay.
And then those peptides are like a frequency that induce your cells to create different functions. Okay. Right? Amino acids or the peptides then come together into bigger chains that make protein structures.
Okay.
Right. So I'm not a big fan of collagen protein because proteins can be denatured very easily. Like if it gets overheated or something, a supplement, if it sits too long,
it loses its potency.
It loses all the branch chains and the peptides that make it work.
Okay.
So I like collagen peptides. So inside the collagen protein, there are many peptides that you can isolate and study. So like in the collagen peptide or protein, there is a peptide for skin tightening. There's a peptide for bone healing. There's a peptide for hair, skin, and nail. They can be isolated and then put into large doses. And then that can be assayed and tested better. So I love collagen peptides over collagen protein.
Oh,
so maybe that helps people. And so then what happens is both peptides and hormones are messengers, but peptides are made from amino acids and sex hormones are made from cholesterol. And cholesterol and the processing of hormones can be a bigger detoxification process, which is why you tend to see more side effects related to hormones than you would to a peptide. Not that peptides, they're both strong chemical messengers that can induce your body to do great things. But I prefer peptides because there's less contraindication because they're easier metabolism.
Are there, aside from collagen, are there other common peptides that you're seeing a lot of women my age take and be helpful? What are
peptides,
some of those?
Can I just say this too? We've been talking a lot about menopause and perimenopause.
Yes.
Let me breathe some amazing life into this whole thing. This is the greatest time in human history to age amazing. Like the advancements in the last decade outweigh the last 200 years in like lifestyle and vitality research that you can feel in your, like you do in your 30s until your way late 70s, 80s today. That should be exciting for everybody.
It is exciting.
And the things that are going to lead the way in that are going to be things like supplements, bioregulators, and peptides. If you don't know about peptides now, and I've been talking about this for 10 years, because we use peptides in almost all of our programs, you need to learn about them. They are the future. They're absolutely the future. That and something called bioregulators, but we'll let people Google that. They can learn about that on their own. We could have a whole podcast on bioregulators. But it is ushering this new exciting world of infinite possibilities and longevity, vitality. And that's what people need to be excited about. Right now, the science is just blowing up in this area, which is why people get left behind. Like, what are we talking about? Like, people don't know. And there's some very common peptides that exist today to advance healing, like BPC 157, TB 500. They keep your joints really solid. They make you heal faster.
Okay.
You've got tesamorelin and ipamorelin. These are natural growth regulators that protect your your hair, bone, cartilage to hold on and help you hold muscle and keep your integrity longer. You know, you do have the GLPs that are the Wegovy, the semaglutide. I think it's important for people to realize peptides are just like supplements.
I would love for you to talk about, I would love to hear your point of view on this too.
Peptides at first are just mimickers of stuff that your body already makes, typically at first, some of the core ones. So your gut makes GLP. Okay.
Right.
Bacteria help. It's called an incretin. So most people, I know people, there's a lot of stuff going on out there about GLPs. What we should know is that they're very powerful and they are one of the greatest technologies in human history for healing. But because they're so powerful and human beings are not great with powerful things, the internet is one of the greatest technologies in human history. But the second reason, most reasons it's used is pornography. That doesn't make the internet bad. It just means that humans can become ignorant to powerful things. Yeah. Right?
Yep.
GLP technologies help get sugars down, increase autophagy, increase lifespan. Think of it as hormone replacement. Because of the environment that we live in, most people don't make enough GLP, which is why their glucose is all over the place. They're not metabolisms are slowing down. Their cells are more resistant to glucose. And that's why we're all afraid of sugar. And this stuff begins to inflammation begins to build. So microdosing these things in conjunction with supplement and nutrition and also stress management are creating outcomes that are reversing disease in ways we never thought possible. And so GLPs should be under the advisement of someone who's a professional that also is guiding your diet and your lifestyle. You do that together, they're great. You do a GLP by itself, you're going to lose muscle and you're going to get stuck on these drugs, which is exactly what just because the pharmaceutical companies make them doesn't mean that pharmaceutical companies are your friends. So we're going to learn to be responsible. Do not be afraid of GLPs. Use the right way. They are, the rest of the world is just trying to scare us because I think people are afraid of losing their power as experts. If you can just take a GLP and you don't have to listen to them, they are feeling threatened by that. So then they're just saying all these things that really a lot of the research is totally debunking. But you stay on these things too long, just like anything. If you drink 7 gallons of water, you can die. Does that make water bad? No, it means drink normal amounts of water like a regular human being. Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Totally. We always we answer listener questions on our show. So I want to get to a few of these. Sure. Our first question today is from Laura, and she wants to know, this is what we're talking about. Colostrum, peptides, collagen, greens, electrolytes. What is worth the hype? I'm overwhelmed. I'm going to give you the advanced answer and then the simple answer. Advanced answer is that we have a genetic testing today that we do. We did your genetic test. Yes. So I know based on your genetics and your body's behavior, what is worth investing in. Like, is NAD great for you? I can know by certain genes. Like, is it going to be a great investment? Is a probiotic going to be a great investment? We know based on your genetic mutations, like what is the thing that over time will really pay off for you? So if anybody ever wants to do that, they can do a consult with that. On the other hand, in general, colostrum has immunoglobulins in it that support your immune system. So anything that supports your immune system is worth investing in because it becomes the number one problem when we get older. That's the whole problem with COVID and all these different things going on in the world is that we're becoming susceptible to things as we get older because our immune system's becoming dysfunctional, and it's what actually controls inflammation in your body, like a governor. It's our immune systems were great when we're young. That's why we can drink poison, fall off a building, and tomorrow I'll be ready to play. But if we get older, if we don't sleep 8 hours, we feel hungover. So the thing is, colostrum has immunoglobulins. Those in them, they clean our food for us. So they'll get out bad bacteria and toxins and eliminate and help us absorb the other healthy things better. And help balance our immune system. So that would be great. Vitamin D with K2 would be great. Those are good investments. However, greens powders, a lot of not all created trickery. Equally. I'm going to be professional in here. I'm going to say trickery going on out there. If you, generally a couple of months out of the year, if you want to take fruits and greens, fine. That can be helpful.
You should rotate them. Your magnesium, that's a solid one to use all the time. As I told you, I like collagen peptides, but I don't like collagen protein.
Right.
Not a big fan because proteins can be denatured. You don't know how they're making it. And so I like the peptide itself.
Yep.
Yeah. Any more did they have? What was else on that list?
Well,
electrolytes. So electrolytes is something that everyone can benefit from. So that's an instant win that everyone can benefit from. However, consult your doctor. If you've got heart conditions or you're on multiple statin drugs, the more complicated your health issues get, your sodium should come down and your potassium should go up. I don't want to assume that everyone should be on 4,000 milligrams of sodium. That would be irresponsible to say on this.
Right. But
generally, most people drink water, be active, get in 3,000 milligrams of sodium, and you're going to be great. Okay.
So here's a question, and I wish we had way more time to dive into this. This is from Preeti. And she asked, do you do a certain hard lifting program? So I'm assuming she means hard meaning heavy weights or a weightlifting program. Can you talk a little bit about, especially because right now what this is going around on Instagram.
Yep.
Everyone's like, increase your protein, walk with a weighted vest, drink your electrolytes, lift heavy weights.
Yes.
Which I don't walk with a weighted vest, but I have definitely increased my weights in lifting. I love, but talk about it.
So we're studying these things with Dr. Bill Campbell at the Metabolic Laboratory in the University of South Florida. What's important for people to understand, if I'm talking to people that are starting to have been chronic dieters or people that are getting a little bit older, I think the important thing to understand is that walking alone will hold most muscle. In fact, they're in the middle of a study right now. I know I can share this a little bit because we did it on another podcast. They're walking women 6 hours a day and getting protein in, and they're holding their muscle all together.
Okay.
So like walking, you can literally, there's not enough walking that would shut your metabolism down. Like you can just keep walking.
Okay.
So it's important to understand, is training important for longevity? Strength is a part of longevity, but don't get it twisted. There is no association between lifting weights and longevity.
Okay.
Strength and longevity and walking and longevity, right? Strength, weight training is great. Do not get me, don't get it confused. That's great. I would say though, the keys though, is that you should cycle it. Just like I talked about diet. There should be periods that you do train, weight training for significant, like if you want to train for strength, I think you should go through 12 weeks of that. Once a year is a great idea. And you should keep weight training in at least 2 times a week, at least to maintain muscle. There are times when you're trying to build muscle.
Yeah.
If your goal is to change your body composition,
that's my goal right now.
That's where you're at. You're in the build phase. But for you, tell everybody out here, you did all this losing this weight. You trained like twice a week and you walked.
Right. Yes, true. And I haven't, I'm still at the gym and I'm lifting, but I haven't really gone into the mode of truly building muscle yet, which is where I'm at.
Yeah.
And I shared a little bit about this in that you can build muscle and still lean out, but there's different ways you can do it.
Yes.
But as I've worked with you, because of my needs, we decided to lose first and then build the muscle and not do it simultaneously. As
someone who's worked with 55,000 people and teaches, at a university, doctors and coaches how to do this all over the world, I'm going to set the record straight right here.
Okay.
The best way for you to ever build the body of your dreams does not start with building muscle. I know it sounds crazy. You want to hold the muscle that you have, but you want to bring your body weight down without losing muscle through walking, fast feasting. Like fasting should be a part of it, but you also got to feed your body.
Yep.
You can train a little bit, but you want to get your body pretty lean because now nutrient partitioning, your insulin and leptin sensitivity get very sensitive. Now, when you build, you'll build more muscle than you would have before. Now your glucose from eating carbs isn't going to go right into fat on your glutes or you're not going to be a swollen mess. Like people don't really understand how to create what's called physique enhancement, which is a totally different field of nutrition than just weight loss nutrition. How you build the best body is you bring yourself down, you tear it down to the studs, right? Keeping your muscle though, that's the trick, right? And then you build the muscle. So to this person that's asking this question, I would say to them, what is your goal? Because yes, every woman should lift weights. Do not get me wrong. I'm not suggesting we should have a period of that.
Yeah.
But if you overcommit to weightlifting and you don't diversify, you're not going to get the look that you want. You're going to be square. You're going to be like you're not going to have the look without an integrated approach. There are certain women, yes, that have the perfect bodies and they lift and they tell everyone, woman on social media, all you need to lift and you're going to look amazing. Yeah. But the reality is, if you're already really stressed out and you don't sleep that much and you train a lot, you're going to be a boxy, swollen mess. Like that's the truth, right? So strength is important, but first it's better to master your nutrition, walk, get your inflammation down, get the weight off of you, become more sensitive, and then engage in more 3-4 day training. Yeah. If I had to give anybody a perfect thing, it would be walk out in nature twice a week, do pull-up Pilates one day, and then train 3 days a week. That would be like resistance training. That would probably be the great blend.
Oh, this has been great, Vince. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah. I hope they get a lot out of this.
They will. I think this episode, you're going to have to go back and listen to it 2 or 3 times because there really is a lot of great information.
Yeah.
Thank you so much
Thank you for
being here.
Yeah.
Remember that we have a free whole body guide for you this season. Just go to Candace.com to find the link. It's also in our show notes. And you'll also find a spot at Candace.com where you can ask questions for future episodes. And there's one more place you can ask questions and join a private podcast discussion group. It's called the Together Community. Download the app and learn how to become a monthly member at Candace.com/together. Until next time, be grateful all day, every day. Candy Rock Entertainment, all rights reserved.